It's Leviathan, not Leviathan. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. I want to talk about my big game hunting account, my alternate account, as we call it, Professor X, the account that doesn't know what the heck to do because of how much new farming stuff is really going to be required. And Leviathan, I do pronounce it in a way that it gets to rhyme with marathon, and I see nothing wrong with that at all. So, except for maybe it's pronounced wrong, but other than that, we're going to talk about what we need to do to prepare for this, and what kind of things am I looking at on this account. I do this every month, just talking about my account, because that's the most fun in this game, in my opinion. Trying to plan out our different moves, and which things are important, which things can we let go. And yeah, this is something important, guys. I'll probably put out a more generalized farming guide for the most recent stuff here in the next couple weeks. I'm not really sure what the time frame of that is, but keep your eyes peeled. Until then, just want to thank all of my patrons for all of your support. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate you. Every single one of you, except for one of you, who I will not name here. You who shall not be named. Just kidding, I actually appreciate you too. So, you guys are amazing. You make all the difference in the world to me. I really appreciate you. And for those of you who want to support this channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that like button, subscribe, comment. It really does help boost the channel, get us more recognition, get us more people walking in and, potentially staying, hanging out, becoming part of whatever we are, this community, this really awesome community. So before we jump into the actual game part, guys, I just want to remind you, okay, so I made my video, The Plan, a couple days ago, talking about the road ahead, and there's all these announcements and stuff. Leviathan is coming out soon-ish, in the next 3 months, like probably right after the third conquest is done. And this is all stuff you can find. I talk about it in more depth on that video, but just it looks like it's going to be a Sith Empire fleet for the most part, and we're gonna have ships for all of them. Darth Revan being the pilot for Leviathan, and then Sith Assassin already has Sith Fighter. We have the Sith Bomber from the Marauder, and then of course Malgus is the new ship, the Fury Interceptor. So what other ships might remain, it's just speculation. You guys can go watch that if you want. The thing I really want to point out here, though, folks, is if you're not going to, if you don't want to spend anything right now, if you don't want to gear anyone up, that's probably wise, frankly. Who knows if we're going to need the Sith Fighter? I'm guessing we will, but we don't know that for sure. I'm not going to send you off to go put Relic 5 on Sith Assassin unless you absolutely have to, because she is absolutely not worthwhile unless you have a huge account and you just need more Sith that can do some turn meter stuff, like marginal turn meter stuff, or if you need that ship, which may or may not be the case. But I would farm Sith Fighter and Sith Assassin one way or another. Remember, if you to buy a new capital ship from 4 stars all the way up to 7 stars, if it follows the same format as Executor and Profundity, which I don't see why it won't, they've already said that it's going to be a similar format for the event, then remember, it's going to cost you a lot of crystals initially. That's 1.5 vaults, basically $150, which is something my main account might cough up, but my alt is probably not going to be coughing that up unless I've saved a substantial amount of crystals on the side. The other big piece of it, guys, and this is very nebulous, because we don't know. The last time they did a galactic chase, which is how they release new ships lately for the last couple years, I think, usually the chase would take way more crystals than just 5,000, but they changed the place that the chase would occur, and it only costed people 5,000 crystals to go from 0 stars all the way to 7 stars. You just got to buy a lot of refreshes over the course of a few days. And so if you want to get these new marquees that are coming out, they're going to be coming out via Chase, and you can conceivably get them for 10,000 crystals total for the 2 of them. I don't know exactly if that's going to be the case this time, if they'll change the drop rate, if they'll change whatever. It seemed a little too player friendly, frankly, for what CG likes to do. But keep in mind, we're probably going to want to get all of these things ready by somewhere around June 28th. End of June is probably, start of July. That's probably when we're going to be getting this new fleet, this new ship. So let's jump into the game now, guys. And remember, this isn't only going to be about Leviathan. This is going to be about what decision making I'm making on my alternate account in terms of just trying to dominate in GAC. Remember, my alternate account has 3 Galactic Legends and is still in Kyber 2, beating up on teams. Like I'm like a couple matches away from getting into Kyber 1 on that account, so I'm always facing 7 Galactic Legends. I think I just finished match 8 out of 9 of this current season, and only one person had 6 Galactic Legends. The rest have had 7, and yet I have a winning record even without playing my last game. So that's kind of the legacy we're trying to create here, making teams that are that counter the meta, that aren't Galactic Legends necessarily. That's why it's called big game hunting, which you can see here. Let's get over to the actual game, though. Whoa, we're in the game. Madness. Here's the... Where is the game? Oh, here it is. Okay. My setup is so crazy sometimes. All right, so things that are kind of on my mind. Like, I'm not saying that this is all stuff I need to do, but this is stuff that... it's stuff that like you want to pay attention to. So I do have Riva on this account. We're at 8.7 million GP, which seems like a lot. I mean, it is, but we only have 3 Galactic Legends, which is not a lot, especially like I just said, always facing like 7 people with 7 and stuff. It's a mess. However, okay, so we have Riva now, which is great. Here's the thing. Like, Relic 7 is probably enough for what I want to do with them right now in terms of like countering almost every other team and everything, but in territory battles, it would be very nice if I was able to contribute to that node where, they all hang out, and what is it? It's the phase 4 node, and it's apparently pretty easy, and it would be nice if I could contribute to my guild's total GET3 accumulation, which is something that I'm thinking about. I'm guessing I'm not going to do that, because it is a lot of investment to get all these guys up to Relic 8 for a little bit of GET3 every month. I'm not saying I'm not going to, but it might take a little bit of time and a little bit of persuasion, because like the other big Relic project that I have right now is I'm trying to get Jabba and Crescent into Relic 9, and then Boosh, Embo, and Skiffguard up to Relic 8. And you can see Boosh is actually up to 8 now, Crescent is at 8, Jabba's only at 7, but he just... it's almost like you don't need him to be super substantial. I mean, he already is. He's a substantial fellow, if you know what I mean. But you don't really need him to be that thick until like the rest of his team is pretty strong too. So I think what we can do here is probably just pause for just a little bit. Like, I don't want to let off the gas, but at the same time we need to start paying attention to other things as well. We also have currently, I just got my Droidica up to Relics. Up until I think a day ago, he was only gear 12, and so we need to get him up to 5 so that we can use the best datacrons possible. I have the Omicron on him, which means we have way more incentive to do to be working on him, honestly, trying to get him to 5, because this team is kind of worthless without a datacron. And I don't want to be worthless, guys. Now, another thing is we want, because Trench is coming, you guys can see, okay, so Trench is here. If we want to make a Trench team with this account, which I think we do, especially because the Datacron set 8 is so strong with Trench. It looks like it's going to be pretty disgusting. If we want to make that Trench team, then we're going to need something that makes General Grievous work well, and that's not typically going to be Droidica, in fact. I know that a lot of people want to do that, and I wish that that was the case too, but BB-8 does that. I would love to get BB-8 up to Relic 5. I know that that's not really the requirement these days. Relic 7, I think, is the minimum requirement for Rey, but if I can get BB-8 up to 5, then we can use a Datacron on this team, and all will be well. Unfortunately, we got Newt up to Relic 5, and now he's going to ditch us for Trench, potentially. Trench, and... oh, man. He is... he's making me clench. So, we have this Trench team, and the funny thing about this is, guys, Count Dooku is... I'm actually very close on this account to getting Sith Eternal, like almost by accident. There's so many different requirements for Sith Eternal that I'm like, oh yeah, Troopers, sure, I need that. I would love to get some Troopers, yeah, a lot of the characters, Sith Marauder is already a Relic 3. Tons of different characters are already relicked. Dooku's not yet, but he's one of those requirement characters that I'm going to need anyways, and Dooku is amazing with Trench, so we need to get both of these guys up to Relic 5 at least. I think Trench will have to be up to 7, so this is a lot. This is a pretty big project, actually, just between the two of them, but if we can get in on that pretty early, like Trench is pretty good. I want to see how he is in 3v3. I'm not sure what team comp I want to use for him, and I might not be able to get this done in time, but if we want the ideal Trench team, at least as far as we understand it so far, then these two are characters that we're going to be working on. So remember, now that we are getting rid of set 6 for Datacrons, then like we don't have the 20% turn meter thing for Darkside, and therefore Droidica can fill in here potentially. Like Watt could normally fill in for Maul because Watt would take a bonus turn. He does a special. Maul, he has Frenzy, so he takes an immediate 100% turn meter gain, whatever. Candace goes, and the whole team just like gets to do a frenzy of hits before your opponent even gets a turn, and because we don't have that turn meter starting, we're gonna need something to make that happen, and Droidica can do that if you make him fast enough. Remember, Droidica is an additional, and these mods are terrible on him right now, guys, to be clear, but he has plus 50% speed, so like let's look at him currently. Yeah, he's awful. I have him at no speed, but he's at 131. So right now, it's not just 131, however, guys. It's another plus 50%, which is, what, 65 for this? So, I mean, if we're just being real roughly, he's what, he's like 200 speed right now, which isn't great, but you can get him way faster, and then you get another 50%, and as long as you can get him, I mean, he gets to be about 390, 400 speed, something like that, once you put enough speed mods on him, and as long as he can go first, then you're good to go. So I was thinking of maybe taking like Moff Gideon and having him hang out with them, but instead we can double dip and have Droidica hang out with Maul and company. Watt can go to his own team because I don't really need him for babysitting Galactic Legends, and then I can have BB-8 replace Newt on Grievous so that we still get a bunch of turn meter and everything, and we have Droidica that already has a Datacron that works in Territory Wars. So those are kind of the splits that I'm thinking of, and so all we have to really do is work on, I mean, obviously Trench and Dooku, but then Droidica can fill multiple slots, and we're filling all these different gaps with just a few characters. It's kind of sleek, and we get a whole new team out of it. So something to think about. The other one, man, I really love Night Sisters. What I think will end up happening for at least a little bit is I'll be experimenting to see if we can make Marin work at like gear 12 until we can get the rest of the team up to the relics or whatever is required to be able to unlock the Cal Survivor. Though I think Marin only needs gear 12 actually to get there. So who knows? Well, on this account, Night Sisters are a lot of fun, especially with the low relics. Like it is just, it's a hoot, guys. So we can, this is something that I'm kind of looking at. I'm obviously not putting even any gear on Marin right now, but just something to be thinking about. This Sears squad, I mean, I don't know if this is the best squad. I just fought this squad and lost with, I think, my Mall Mandos just because I didn't know how the squad worked. I'll do better next time, I promise, but I promise that I'll consider doing better. I just don't have the shards yet, and frankly, like, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum seems like a lot of fun, but we just don't have what it takes right now. No bandwidth for this. Even though we have 2 characters relic and the rest of them are like gear 1 or whatever. This team is going to be good, and it will be a priority eventually, so we need to be tracking it, but I'm not going to put us on the path of, like, we have to gear them, because they're not going to be that good without, like, relics, and we just don't have relics right now, you know? Eventually we're going to need Relic 7 on Seer at the very least, and then I think 7 on Cal Survivor. We do want to angle to be able to get Cal Survivor and everything, of course, but it's just going to take a little bit of time, of course, for that to happen on this account, and plus we need to be focusing on Leviathan anyways, which is going to be more important because as a ship, there's just fewer things, like being able to keep up in ships is a huge boost, not only to your arena, to be able to get your crystal income up, but also in Grand Arena to get your crystal income up. If you can beat people who are consistently, have stronger rosters, but you have a better fleet, that's a really nice advantage to have. Ships are the most important game node in the game right now, even though they're not that exciting. Now, one other thing a few other things, guys. So before we go into the fleet portion, though, it is like Zoe Squad. If I could get them all to gear 11, now I don't know how viable it is, frankly, guys. This is a lot of so right now we accumulate core gear at a pretty astounding rate compared to what we used to. It's doubled basically, though we do still need Chirotech. Now the thing is, we don't really need, I don't think Rose needs Chirotech, and OG Finn and Poe don't need it either. Hero Finn already has all the Chirotech he needs except for his Gear 12 piece, his finisher, but Zori needs a whole lot of Chirotech. Like, I think just to get out of level 9, yeah, she needs 200 pieces. How disgusting. But if you can manage that, guys, and throw on an Omicron or even just like a few Zetas. I can't even afford Zetas right now. I only have 2 total. You want 1 on the lead, and then you want 2 on Zori. So if you can do it, though, this is something I'm going to be passively farming. Now, in terms of pilots, Malgus, be looking at Malgus. I have 3 Omicrons on him. See how, look at my Malgus, how fancy is he? But we also, Darth Revan, we're probably going to need him at more than Relic 5. I'm not going to do anything yet, though. I'm not sure if that's, in the cards. Sith Empire Trooper is one that maybe start passively gearing if you haven't already started working on him. And then, like I've said before, Sith Assassin, maybe just farm Sith Assassin and get up to, gear 8 or whatever. Upgrade that ship a little. Just kind of, stay ready, stay prepared. And don't just randomly click on Sith Empire Trooper unless you really want to. Other things that I really want to do. Zam is holding my bounty hunters back. She just, we can't have Datacrons as long as she is only gear 12. And she's a requirement character. It's like, man, I would love to, she already has her Omicron. I would love to upgrade her. It's just like, with what gear should I do that? Grand Moff Tarkin, he's the head of one of the best fleets in the game right now, and I guess that'll diminish a little bit with the Fury's existence, but, not the Fury, but the Leviathan's experience, I'm just gonna pause for a minute and not say words. So, we have Grand Moff Tarkin, who has a really awesome fleet, who is very versatile, takes on both of the meta fleets. Like, basically, his fleet kills all the different fleets, and he would do his job a whole lot better if he was relicked. That would be amazing if I could do that, because he'd be faster, he'd be able to react faster, and do more damage with his pretty pathetic ultimate. Though it is kind of an impressive visual ultimate, it would be nice to be able to get him relics. Royal Guard, he's going to be required for Sith Eternal anyways, which is kind of a funny thing because so is Grand Moff Tarkin. But Royal Guard is also a pilot for a ship I use all the time with the Empire fleet. And he's only gear 10. It would be nice to get him up to relics. And I guess we'll see a couple other pilots in just a little bit. But Shore Trooper would be nice just because Empire could really use a tank sometimes. Or a lot of teams can, and that Pretond is nice. Moff Gideon, because he can be so stinking fast, it would be a fun alternative to Droideka, though he's not needed anywhere, really. He's not a requirement character. The other thing that I really need to do, and this might be the most urgent thing, guys, is I really want to make Traya and company get them up to gear Relic 5 so I can get a better Omicron for them, so I can start taking out Reva with them. I have all the relics, or I have all the gear on them. Just a couple of relics more each would make them so much more resilient and hopefully help me to be able to take out Reva and counter her, because Reva's going to be more and more prevalent as we march through. So anyways, those are all the issues that I'm like thinking about. So here's the things that I'm going to do. So first off, the priorities just got to be for Traya. I've got to really focus on that. I think we're gonna just pause on the Hutt Cartel. It's a lot of relics. We need to get those relics on there, and I'm not gonna forget about it. But I think I just got Boosh up to 8 earlier tonight, and that I feel like this is an okay place to stop, frankly. Like the other two, yes, I need to start throwing some stuff on them, but it needs to just pause while we get Trench up and running. And I mean, we had to pause because of Reva getting, tailing all my gear and all my relic levels for a while. But we can move on. We can march forward. These two operate really well at Relic 5. And eventually they'll get up to 6 and 7 and then 8, and Jabba will get up to 9. Chrysanthemum will get it. It's just exhausting to think about, but we really want that super thick Hutt team so that people will just really struggle. Now that we're not going to have the no revive cron, now that we won't have the whatever it is, Afra Kron, which just set this team on fire in so many ways. So we want to work on Droideka, want to work on BB-8. So this is, those are just the same teams as I was showing you previously. So we can work on Droideka, BB-8, Trench, and Dooku. Those are all good passive farms, especially because these just require like Carbanti or Gold Balls or, some Cairo, but you don't need that much Cairo for those ones. Keep in mind too, guys, for Relic 7, probably the only ones that I'm like, man, you have to get to Relic 7 and, make sure you can use them for these characters. Mara Jade is going to be ridiculous. She's probably not even going to go with Starkiller, though. If she does, she's going to melt some faces. And then, of course, Trench needs Relic 7 to use his level 9 Kron. And then, passive to gear 11. You guys saw the Zoe Squad. The Empire pilots, the other two I really want to get to gear 12 are Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando, so that we can counter all the things using Gauntlet. You don't want to make Gauntlet too fast anyway, so gear 12 is about perfect for the pilots. So, then we can tweak the mods and everything as we need to. We're going to keep an eye out for all of the different Sith things, and then I also am just farming all the different characters currently, except for the ones in Cantina. So Hondo and Son, I need to put a little bit of more effort into them, but there's not much point in getting them up and running until I can finish 000 and B21, which you can see I'm much farther ahead with 000 than B21. I think that was because during the Jabba unlock and ultimate chase, I don't think we farmed BT1 at all during that time period, so they're still months away from being ready. And even though we're making progress, the murder bots are nice and all, they're not going to really move the needle for the must-haves that we have on this account. And then other slow farms, gosh, there's so many things I'm farming right now. We have 000, BT1, Zori, Tusken Warrior, Tusken Chieftain. Hold on, Warrior's not farmable yet. And then eventually we'll have Seer and Cal and Marin. We also have Tai Defender that I'm only at 5 stars, the upper 5 stars. So tons of stuff to farm, guys. This is why you want to have Sith Assassin already farmed, so you don't have to do it later and try to make room for it with all these other crazy requirements. Now, in terms of should I be working on Tuskens? I don't think I'm going to, frankly, not for a while. They're really nice, they're versatile, and they would just take a lot of effort that I don't know that I want to expend. You guys have seen all these different projects that we're working on. We're gonna have to work on more Sith. We're gonna have to do all this stuff. Probably not in the cards to work on Tuskens. So, anyways, folks, this is one of the longer big game hunting videos that I've made. I hope that it helps you understand a little bit of what my priorities are. You know, you want to make sure all your best teams are going to be really good, and you want to make sure that all the different, that you can counter all the things that you need to. And it's crazy, we're not even thinking about going for Sith Eternal right now, even though he's really not that far away from where we're standing, folks. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on me potentially starting up my Prevail Man account again. That probably won't happen, but I've been thinking about it anyways. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xerath prevails, man. Take care.